name is Frank Guarnera. This is Mike Mercer. AppraisalWorks is a appraisal management technology platform, and it's used by banks, credit unions, non-banks, capital markets. And when we embarked on the process to build AppraisalWorks, we learned from users they were very frustrated because they couldn't customize the platform without lengthy technology projects. So we decided we were going to build a platform that took customization out of the hands of the developers and put it back in the hands of the users. We're going to show you how easy it is to customize AppraisalWorks today. And before we jump into the demo, I want to give you just a recent scenario that we had with one of our customers. This is a high volume home equity lender. They wanted to deploy a valuation cascade, and if the homeowner's estimate of value was equal to or greater than $1 million, they wanted to skip the cascade, go straight to a 1004. They went to a 1004, they wanted the system to auto-assign to the best performing appraiser, and when the appraiser returned the assignment, they wanted it to go into a special review queue. They wanted their high net worth review team to look at that appraisal before they approved the loan. We do this by starting with what we call a business rule. And business rules are really powerful in AppraisalWorks. Business rules are going to drive product selection. They're going to drive vendor selection. They can also drive workflow. In this case, we've got a very simple business rule. And the business rule starts out by looking at the product type. Is the product type a single family? And is the loan type home equity? And finally, is the homeowner's estimate of value equal to or greater than $1 million? If all these are true, we're going straight to a 1004. Once we build the business rule, we're going to build the valuation cascade that the lender wanted. And this valuation cascade, they wanted an AVM, a desktop, and a 1004. But for lenders, if they want to add a product to their valuation cascade, it's very simply done. They simply select the drop-down, and it will show all of the appraisal products or valuation products in their shopping cart. From here, they just select the product, click go, and that product is now part of their valuation cascade. To adjust the order, it's nothing more than just simple drag and drop. But you'll also notice in this cascade, we've got business rules. And business rules are used as what we call kind of qualifiers, right? The first qualifier is going to be a compliance qualifier. And that's to make sure that nobody's gaming the system. Okay, if you remember, homeowner's estimate of value is $1 million. Well, if I want the AVM, I'm just going to enter in something below $1 million. That's fine, do that. We're going to run the AVM, but we're going to look at the final estimate of value. And if it's equal to or greater than $1 million, we're skipping the whole thing and going straight to a 1004. The next qualifier is to make sure that the lender is getting the most accurate AVM. And we do that by keying in on the FSD score. So is the forecasted standard deviation greater than 10? If it is, we're going to go to the next product in their cascade, which in this case was a desktop appraisal. So once AppraisalWorks knows what product to order, we want to go back and assign or auto-assign to the best performing appraiser. And that starts with scoring. Most of the time, scoring's kind of a one size fits all. But in AppraisalWorks, we give the user the ability to customize scoring. And scoring is going to consist of a service score and a quality score. The user can use the sliders to adjust the different components of the service score and do the same thing for the quality score. We then take the service score and the quality score and we move it into what we call an overall performance score. And the user can then determine, do they want to weight quality more, do they want to weight service, or do they want them equal? And once we got the scoring, we need to figure out what performance tier are we going to stick our best performing appraisers in. Do they want them in the top 10% of the quartile? And they just do that by a slider. Once we have scoring, we're then going to set up the auto assignment portion of that. So we know who the best performing appraisers are. We're going to set up the auto assignment by looking at the different elements in the scoring. And those elements are going to be turned on or turned off. Once we have the auto assignment set, we're going to go in, we're going to set that work queue up. So when the appraisal comes in, what are we going to do with that appraisal? These work queues can be set up by product type, they can be set up by state, they can be set up by lender division, they can also be status driven, completed, not completed. They can be event driven. What is also really important is the user can define which users can access the queue, and do those users have read access only, or are they going to perform a function? And if they're going to perform a function, how long do they have? What's the SLA for them to finish working on an order? So this helps the lender manage productivity. So by setting this up, we literally spent about 3 hours consulting with the customer, finding out what they wanted to do in this entire process. After 3 hours, we had a business analyst who had copious notes and effectively set this up and deployed it the same day. The lender was able to take really 3 full-time employees that were really just sitting there catching orders and determining, do I want to order an AVM? Do I need to order a 1004? They were able to reallocate those employees and have them do something probably much more important. And then we also took their error rate to 0. They were running reports to kind of catch errors when they inadvertently ordered the wrong product. And finally, probably the most important thing we did was we improved the borrower experience. And they improved the borrower experience because they were able to take and move more loans through the funnel because they weren't sitting in a work queue waiting for somebody to assign them, waiting for a vendor to accept them, waiting for a reviewer to review them. I appreciate the time today. We'd love to talk to you at booth 404. Thank you for your time.
Good job. I love that you crafted this around a very specific success story so that everybody could kind of see themselves in that story. And the question I had written down, because I was waiting to see if you would get to it, is help me understand the value of the problem that you're solving. And then you hit it by saying, you know, for this particular lender you were describing, they had 3 employees that they could repurpose. So I appreciated that. The thing I was actually going to start with, I'm going to mention really quick, just specific not just to you, but to all the folks presenting today. Number one, thank you for your folks that are in the room. And we're heading to a break after this session. Please go visit these folks. They have invested a lot. It's very stressful to stand up here and do this. You guys have done a great job. So all the folks that have presented today, I know everybody's busy and has phone calls to return, but spend some time in the vendor hall visiting these folks. So, but nice job. Thank you.
I was super impressed. I don't know if you talked, I might have missed it, about who your target audience is. My one sort of concern was this could be really highly complex for smaller shops. But if your market is the larger lenders who have that kind of sophistication and IT support, I was pretty impressed.
Thank you.
Likewise, I actually, yeah, the reference to business analysts usually implies that there's at least some resources in the houses. So who are you going to market for? But I do actually quite like the getting at assigning the best appraiser and doing so with your own service and quality scores. That was something that definitely jumped out at me that I think is really cool. And the end result, I will say this in a somewhat harsh way, but like reducing headcount, and if that's an environment that we're all in, and it's a very sober environment, but if you're able to do so with technology, I think that's why we're all here, is to try to find those efficiencies, and I do think you hit that mark. So good job.
Thank you.
Thank you, Frank.
Appreciate it.